Welcome back to Blue Flag Bandits, the series that drives F1's worst cars since 2010, so you don't have to. In the often desperate hunt for points, and you join us at round number 2 in the Malaysian Grand Prix, driving as Jenson Button in the McLaren MP430, and as you can see, it wasn't that desperate a hunt for points last time out. In Australia, we took P9 after a bit of a coming together with Lewis Hamilton, who rejoined the track in a very unsafe manner. And also, we qualified 6th, but we slipped a little bit backwards. Nico Rosberg took the win away from Felipe Massa, who led for a long period of the race. Raikkonen was 3rd, then it was Bottas, Ricciardo. Alonso started 18th and finished P6. Kvyat was 7th, then it was Hulkenberg. We finished 9th ahead of Hamilton, who had time penalties. Vettel was out of the points in 11th ahead of Verstappen. Then it was Nasser, Grosjean, Perez, Maldonado, Mary, Ericsson, Sainz. And Stevens was the only DNF of that first race. That means that, as you see, the race results are the drivers' stand-ins at the moment. In the constructors, though, different story. Williams lead Mercedes by 4 points after a great result in Australia. Red Bull are 3rd, 10 points behind Mercedes, but just a point ahead of Ferrari. We're 5th, just 5 behind the Scuderia, and 6 clear of Force India, the only other point-scoring team. Toro Rosso, Lotus, Sauber, and Mana Marussia yet to score so far this season. And it was a race where there was a fair amount of carnage and broken carbon fibre and broken cars lying about, but still somehow no retirements other than Will Stevens, who was disqualified after parking the car up. Malaysia, though, is the next race, and it's a circuit that I think a lot of people really do miss in Formula One. I certainly do, and there's a certain fun about driving this circuit. It's a really enjoyable place to drive. So I'm kind of hoping that we can have a good result. However, there's a lot of high power sections, and this is going to expose the complete lack of power in the back of our McLaren Honda. So it might be a bit of a struggle for us to get on an even keel. We should probably go and practice, though. And while we do, we'll talk about the real world. 2015 Malaysian Grand Prix. The Formula One circus returned to Sepang for round 2 of the 2015 season, with Mercedes once again looking to dominate after a comfortable weekend in Australia. Fernando Alonso was cleared by the FIA to race, marking his first McLaren race appearance since the final round of 2007. Practice 1 would see all 20 cars make it out on track, with Mana able to participate after missing the first race. Mercedes' hope for dominance didn't get off to the best start, though, as Hamilton stopped on track on just his 4th lap, leaving him unable to set a lap time. The Silver Arrows would at least see Rosberg top the times, ahead of Kimi Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel. The second practice saw a red flag interruption after Roberto Merri spun his Mana into the gravel at turn 11, compromising the soft tyre runs of both Ferrari drivers in the process. Hamilton began the session with the car still being worked on after the issues in the first practice session, while Maldonado shed apart the side pod. Both Red Bulls would suffer engine problems along with Grosjean as the temperature soared, but by the end of the session, Hamilton would still top the times, ahead of Raikkonen and Rosberg. The final practice didn't produce as much drama, as Merri spun once again but managed to keep going. It'd be Rosberg ahead of Hamilton and Raikkonen by the end of the session, the Ferraris keeping the Mercedes cars honest.
Setup change and you don't like the feel, don't hesitate to come back and undo it. You can save any setups that you like from the tablet, or you can always use one of the presets the team has built from our simulation data.
Qualifying opened with darkening skies as the rain began to move towards the Sepang circuit, as had been threatening on the forecasts. Mana found themselves outside of the 107% time as Stevens was unable to set a time and Merri couldn't repeat his practice times. It was another poor qualifying for McLaren, as both Alonso and Button could line up ahead of the Manas and in behind Nasser. The threat of rain became a reality as the drivers entered their first flying lap in Q2, everyone rushing to get their times on before the inevitable deluge. The traffic jam that ensued would catch up Kimi Raikkonen, the Finn struggling to get by the Sauber of Ericsson through the lap, leaving him eliminated alongside Maldonado, Hulkenberg, Perez and Sainz. victory was delayed by over half an hour as the rain continued to fall, leaving a tyre choice when the session eventually got underway. Those drivers who gambled on the full wet tyres found themselves immediately returning to the pits to move to the Inters. It'd be Hamilton who just took pole, less than a tenth to clear of Vettel for the second year running, while Rosberg could only manage third. The top 10 would be completed by Ricciardo, Kvyat, Verstappen, Massa, Grosjean, Bottas and Ericsson.
Try to warm up the brakes. Brake hard in the next few corners.
Conditions for race day were a stark contrast to qualifying, hot and humid with temperatures well over 60 degrees. As such, the large pace advantage Mercedes had in Australia was unlikely to be repeated. Hamilton would, however, lead away from Vettel, who had to fend off Rosberg into turn 1, while the rest of the pack navigated their way cleanly through the first few corners, with the exception of Will Stevens, who didn't manage to take the start, and Raikkonen, who picked up a puncture after contact with Nasser. It wouldn't be long though before the race was turned on its head, as Marcus Ericsson span off at turn 1, bringing out the safety car so he could be recovered. Vettel would remain on track while both Mercedes dove into the pit lane, double stacking and costing Rosberg time. Vettel would inherit the lead and find a buffer of 4 other cars between him and the Silver Arrows chaser. Mercedes would find themselves struggling to make progress through those drivers who didn't pit, Hamilton eventually getting back to second by lap 10, Rosberg taking a further 4 laps to return to third place. Even in clean air, Vettel was under no pressure from the pair of Mercedes behind, pitting on lap 18. He'd come out behind the Silver Arrows, but would provide the rare sight of a Ferrari cruising past a healthy Mercedes on track. Vettel would cruise away in front while Mercedes comfortably finished off the podium, Hamilton ahead of Rosberg. Raikkonen would recover from his early punctures to take 4th, while the Williams drivers battled hard to finish 5th and 6th. Bottas ahead of Massa. The top 10 would be completed by Verstappen, Sainz, Kvyat and Daniel Ricciardo.
That lap puts us into P8.
We had a fairly solid start in Australia. Will we get another strong performance in Malaysia? Pace seems to be not quite as strong here, likely putting us in danger of replicating the real-world McLaren at this time. I'd still like to think that we can get Q1, I think we've got enough in the tank for that, but not really make a massive dent further up the grid. So, I'm going to aim for a 15th spot, just enough to get a Q1, but not enough to really threaten Q2. But maybe we can even surprise ourselves. You're looking at a results screen for qualifying 2 at the Malaysian Grand Prix, where we ended the session P12, knocked out with Daniel Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, Romain Grosjean, Pastor Maldonado. The 2 Sabres and the 2 Mana Mauritius and Daniel Kvyat were knocked out in Q1. The reason you're looking at a results screen, it's just because I did a bit of a silly and forgot to hit record. You'd think 104 episodes into this series I'd know what I was doing. Apparently I don't. So I will get some practice footage, which you will have already seen, and then we will cross straight to the race for Malaysia.
Good afternoon and welcome from Sepang for what is going to be a fascinating race. It's the Malaysia Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton starts on pole today, and with the blistering pace he's shown all weekend long, it shouldn't come as a surprise if he leaves the opposition in his wake during the race today.
His work isn't done yet. He still needs to take the advantage of being on pole and turn it into a race win. As long as he has no mechanical issues and can stay out of trouble in that first corner, he could make this the perfect weekend.
Nico won the last race with a performance that Toto Wolff called a drive of true class. He seems really at home in this Mercedes team, and it's from that platform that he's able to put in these great performances.
Nico certainly had the edge over Lewis last time out, and he'll want to put one over on his teammate again today. Don't underestimate the mind games that are going on between these pair as they battle it out for supremacy.
Thank you, and Crofty, as we sat on the grid for the Malaysian Grand Prix. P12 in qualifying. Not that you got to see any of it, but such is the way these things happen sometimes. Right with Fernando as well, which isn't too bad. We've got a Red Bull to our right, that of Danny Rick, and then we've got Toro Rosso's Force Indias directly in front of us before the three fastest teams, let's put them that way, Williams, Ferrari and Mercedes way up at the front. I feel like we're going to be ruthlessly exposed for pace here. It's been the same all the way through this race weekend so far, practice and through qualifying. It took really just ragging the car through Q2 to even get it as close to the top 10 as we have. It also meant that we've ragged the tyres as well, the options at least, so we are probably going to be on a back foot just a little bit. It would be nice to snag a point or two here. I do think we have pace on some of the cars behind us, the Saubers. Maybe we can match the Toro Rossos as well. The Force Indias might be a little bit out of our reach, but with Kvyat behind us and Ricciardo next to us, it is going to be tough to keep those guys back. I want to aim for P10. Let's see if we can just pick up another point, keep the momentum going as we get into this season and really start to bed into this McLaren. But I feel like it is going to be a tough race. So, let's get ready for the Malaysian Grand Prix.
We're not starting where we wanted. We'll need to fight our way up the grid today.
Jeff disappointed in qualifying, but there we go. 5 red lights are out, and away we are going in this race. And we're slow off the line. Nando's giving us a nudge. Grosjean 2. We end up pushing the Lotus ahead. Maldonado's just gone for a full dive up the inside. We have to just watch. Slightly out of shape. Sergio Perez, I think it was, as we've jumped ahead of Verstappen, Sainz and Hülkenberg up ahead, side to side. Maldonado is 7th in that Lotus, absolute flyer from the Venezuelan. I think he just took no prisoners on the inside of turn 1 as Sainz is struggling. I run wide as well, just to avoid any contact between them two. Because we saw in the first race, the AI are not afraid of a little bit of a dive bomb or a little bit of a keeping the nose in, and we'll do it to Sainz to move into P9. We're ahead of both Toro Rossos. It's a good start, at least into the points. There was a little bit of contact with Nando off the line, but not anything major by the looks of it. I think we're both... I'm okay. I think he is as well, as we try and catch up to the back of Hulk. Top 6 look all ready to have gone. The 2 Ferraris, the 2 Williams and the 2 Mercedes. And just keep an eye on Carlos behind us. Look to the inside. We'll hold him off. Hulk trying to close on Maldonado. Sainz is going to get a run on us. Verstappen going to have a think as well. He does take a look to the inside. Just about to stay between the pair of them. 9 as we enter the second lap. I feel here that Hülkenberg's getting held up by the Lotus of Maldonado. I'll try and stay with them and see if I can take advantage of that. Certainly lacking a bit of pace compared to the cars immediately around us. There's behind, has gone up the inside of his future teammate. We're here between the two Force Indias.
You're much faster than the car ahead through Sector 1. Faster through Sector 1.
Still stuck behind that Lotus, but just can't get close enough at the moment. We're right with the Force India. Go for a dive, but hopefully can use the DRS. There we go. Because if he gets past Maldonado, maybe we can as well. As maybe we'll look for a dive actually. Into the penultimate corner. Force him wide and we'll get DRS. We might be able to at least draw up to past the Maldonado here. The two Force Indias going side to side behind us.
Rosberg's really going for it. He's just put in the best lap of the race so far.
Maldonado really slow through there. Be a bit of a dive bomb if I was to have a go there, but I am now right up along with the Lotus, just essentially bump drafting him along. Could go for a dive bomb. I might want to try and hold out for DRS just so he doesn't get me back on the back straight. He is struggling. Still with the Lotus. That's the detection line. I think it was, and we'll just force him out and get the DRS. Brilliantly planned, that one, if I do say so myself. Cars I can see off the back of the pack there. I'd assume at least the two Mana Marussias, but the guys in front, top six, way off up in the distance. Hulkenberg though, I wasn't even looking, didn't see him coming. Just come from space there. Back at the inside of him in turn 2 though. Hold 7th spot, but the field are right with me here. Have DRS down the start finish straight. Reminds me a little bit. Tyres are pretty worn at the moment. Starting to see cars at the front coming in. Do want me in this time around, so I think we will, as the tyres are pretty ruined. We'll run wide on entry. We are being followed by a number of cars, so it's good. Hulk might be a bit of a struggle to stay in front of. Also, you're definitely faster than we are. Mando will go past as he stays out.
Exit now. You'll be racing as you leave the pits.
Ahead of everybody that came in with us, at least.
Okay, 2 stops left now. 2 stops.
Oh, Kavia was one of the cars down near the back, so he must have had a fairly terrible
Okay, at this rate,
opening lap or two.
extra fuel, so you have some in hand to run a faster engine mode for a bit.
The car's up ahead, heading into the pits. Staying kind of with the Red Bull of Daniel Kvyat. There are cars heading out. I'd assume that would be the guys who are in the top 6, but we'll see. Can we at least jump back ahead of the guys we were fighting? I think a few of them might have even stayed out, you know? Ricardo stayed out. We've got cars heading out of the pits. We'll get back in front of Hulkenberg though. P13.
Here's the current fuel level. We have 40 kilos remaining. 40 kilos.
A few cars did stay out. Kvyat now stuck behind Stevens.
Ricardo's the race leader.
Thank you to Will Stevens. We're right up behind Daniel Kvyat. Might have chosen the wrong side to try and make a move though. Stay to the outside of the Russian. We'll sweep round the Red Bull. versus Red Bull 10 years too early and much further down the field. Stevens backs off, means they're all going to get DRS, I'm not. Mary in the top 10 up ahead. Keep an eye, they're going 3 wide behind us. Roberto Mary heads in. Perez has jumped both Kvyat and Will Stevens. It's in the pits. Here comes Checo. There goes Kvyat. We're going to try and squeeze through the middle of them. We hold Kvyat off one side and then Perez another. Back up to P9. Just maybe Felipe Nasr has stayed out.
Sauber's pit crew are out of the garage and ready to receive one of their drivers.
Maybe a little too early on the turn there, but that's fine. Maybe Felipe Nasr stayed out. Fights maybe 2. Been jumped by Maldonado in the stops.
Rosberg has just made a pass for the lead.
Wide in the penultimate corner. I'm going to have to put the engine mode up and see if we can stay ahead of Perez, Hulkenberg and Kvyat. Both Force Indias past us. So back at the inside of Perez. Have we managed it? We haven't. We do, however, get DRS. It doesn't matter though. Look at the lack of pace we've got.
Window opens in 2 laps time. 2 laps.
Ricardo, who'd stayed out, and there he is. Kvyat's on my inside here. We managed to stay ahead of the Russian. Both Force Indias immediately in front of us, and then Ricardo as well. Ooh, there's a little bit of contact with Hulk. We get a warning for it, but nothing more. Actually pushed him off the road. I didn't think we were in his hitbox there, if I'm honest, but apparently we were.
There's about 3/4 of our starting fuel left in the tank. That's 3/4 of our fuel load remaining.
But goes to the inside. Well, just about hold him off. Could have done to me what I did to him just a lap ago. Feeling very reminiscent of 2012. We were very much the cork in the bottle while driving for HRT. Tyres are ruined though. I think I'm going to have to pit this lap.
Remember to pit this lap.
Echoing that sentiment. Stays out. Looks like most of them actually staying out. I think I'm doing my tyres over badly. The else is coming in. It's Felipe Nasr.
Release.
Maybe Roman Grosjean actually, yeah. Lotus of Grosjean.
Only 1 stop to go. 1 stop left in this strategy.
Small group of cars in the pits now. Can we jump at them? It looks like a couple of them are heading out though. Probably Verstappen and Perez. I think it was Kvyat. There's Perez. We do have to completely come to a stop because he's basically just parked on the apex. Bumping and barging our way past the Mexican as he just didn't want to use the accelerator. Let's going to be any time. It's got to be now. And we're past the former McLaren man, so back into P13. It's going to be all over us now, I think. The penultimate corner, having to knock it up to Rich just to try and stave off the oncoming storm. But Perez is past.
We're 5 places below our predicted finishing position. We need to do better.
A couple of cars in the pits. We will get DRS this time though. Much like the last lap, there are cars heading out. And I think they're going to... Are they going to beat us? No, they're not. Ooh, there's contact. Perez on our inside, Kvyat on our outside. It's all getting a bit messy. We somehow hold position for now. Looks like Alonso, Nazar and Ericsson still out ahead of us. It was Ericsson and Alonso both in. Here comes Sergio Perez. There goes Sergio Perez.
There's 30 kilos left. We have 30 kilos of fuel.
Once again, though, kind of spook him out the way a little bit. This is when Ericsson are in.
Okay for now, but we can see the wear. If you can't feel it already, then you'll certainly start too soon. Just be careful.
And Perez both passed. Super late on the brakes to try and break them into turn 1. Doesn't really work. And Kvyat does manage to stay in front of us. Both Perez and Sainz in behind us. Still kind of futile at the moment. Just not quick enough. Tyres are wearing an alarming rate. Looks like we've lost Kvyat, but I think we'll get back past Felipe Nasser Sauber. There goes Sergio Perez once again. Look at the overspeed. We do have a dive back up the inside. And then Hulkenberg has a think about it. And we hold him off, but we're back into P9. Again, there come and there go the Force Indias. Hulkenberg stays to the inside. I might pick up DRS off the German, and I do. Give me an opportunity to have a crack at him into turn 1. A long way back. We will, however, give it a shot. It's worked for us as well. Again, I'd assume that Hulkenberg is going to go flying past us. Straightly there, I think he was ahead at the lines. Will get DRS, as will Sergio Perez. They're both going to fight their way through. Sainz is going to have a look as well. This is through on Perez, Verstappen as well, I think. And we've lost a spot to Hulk. Good pit in this lap, but I feel like we are fighting a bit of a losing battle to try and hold on to the top 10 here. They'll get past us before we get to the pit control line. Verstappen almost as well. Check the last stop though, we are the first ones in by the looks of it, although Verstappen and Perez both following us. So at least we're not alone. Ericsson, Alonso, they'll go by, as I think all Felipe Nasser. Maldonado possibly as well. As is through, and it's a big old gap.
Exit now.
Cars, so we pop back out to 14th.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
Sainz and Hulkenberg are going to be coming in this lap. At least that would be the hope. Hulkenberg is in. Might make it out just ahead of us. It's going to be tight. There is Hulkenberg. Nudge the back of the Force India a little bit. Struggling with warm up on those tyres by the looks of it. Not far behind us. Can we go for it into this corner? It'll be a lunge. It is a lunge. Might we spook him out the way. Back up into P13. Looks like Verstappen's in. Ericsson as well. Verstappen's going to beat us, and fairly comfortably as well. Oh, Sainz, sorry, not Verstappen. It might be closer, but there goes Hulkenberg and Perez. As I was paying more attention to where Carlos Sainz was. Yeah, still ahead of us. As are Nasser and Alonso. Alonso and Nasser are now in. Should elevate us back into P9 then.
Okay, we're not seeing any issues with tyre wear right now. You should have good grip for a while yet.
Back into P9 now. It's just a case of trying to hold that for the rest of this race. Hulkenberg, Perez, Sainz and Verstappen right behind us. DRS is so strong. There goes Hulkenberg. It's not far enough behind her, or not close enough, sorry. Too far behind us as well. Round Hulkenberg and hold P9 once again. Problem if they're all with us on the final lap, because getting past me well before the start-finish line. Just because of the DRS overspeed and the fact that they are much quicker than we are. It'll be a pretty devastating way to finish. Again, here comes Hulkenberg. There goes Hulkenberg. Sainz is a little closer this time. But once again with Hulkenberg back up the inside into turn 1. Just doing enough to hold them off. So we're looking at turn 3, that isn't going to work. Sainz's turn. He'll get past us much later on the start-finish straight though. Make it a little bit easier just to block the Toro Rosso out.
Looks like we've just hit the 15 kilo mark in terms of fuel. 15 kilos of fuel remain.
Hulkenberg through. He's going to take a look to the outside. That's an awkward place to do it.
Rosberg's out in front.
Easily at the inside of the next corner. Holding that position. Still P9.
Pit window closing. The pit window is closing this lap.
There's Hulkenberg, as apparently I need to come in this lap. That's not going to happen.
Okay, just to advise you, we're expecting the tyre grip to start falling off
Just
noticeably
about.
around now, but this set should be okay
With
for a
contact.
despite that.
With Hulkenberg to regain our P9 into turn 1. Sainz is now going to have a go. To the inside again. That isn't going to work there, Carlos. It is starting to become a problem.
Fernando's race is over. He's had to retire the car.
Right, so we're down to 19 in this race, and it is Fernando Alonso who's a Honda power unit. Giving up in the back of his car as Sainz goes to one side, Hulkenberg's going to go to the other, so we're going to have to do our dicey little tiptoe through the middle. At the inside of Hulk in turn 1, at the inside of Sainz in turn 2, back into P9. The first engine-related problem, I guess, for the McLaren team this season is, again, Sainz has a look at the inside. We can run full rounds now to the end of the race. There's Sainz. Going back at the inside of the Spaniard, I think. Annoyingly, we did cross the DRS line ahead, and then we've had an incident with him.
Clean passes only. We don't want a penalty.
Ericsson's gone through, and all of a sudden we're outside the top 10 on the penultimate lap of the race.
The damage only looks minor, but you'll need to take it easy to avoid making the problem worse.
We've got to see if we can catch Ericsson with front wing damage. Felipe Nasser has a look at the inside. We've got no front end now. Points are out the question. So frustrating. Thought I'd given him enough space and then we just collided.
Okay, there's 10 kilos of fuel left. 10 kilos of fuel.
We've got nothing. Oh, and Nasser then nudges us.
Toro Rosso gearing up for a pit stop. I'm not sure
I
which
think
driver
Nasser's
yet.
now lost his front wing. One pretty terrible final lap. Sainz goes past Nasser, they're getting lapped behind. Around the final corner as we start our last lap of this Grand Prix, and it looked so good, it looked like we were going to take points. But then we've had a coming together with Carlos Sainz on the penultimate lap, just as we're about to start. Nico Rosberg takes the win. We could have just held ourselves up and got lapped there. But we are going to just crawl around the final lap and try and hold on to at least P11, which we could have taken 9th. We could have had points for 2 races in a row. The AI in this game, I don't know, they just don't like backing out of a move. I've seen it a few times already. Practice sessions and qualifying. You can spook them if you go at the inside. They'll just sit. Or alongside. In fact, I think I was in front as we got through the final corner and came across to the line, and that was it. Before we knew it, we collided. There's 2 races in a row we've had collisions. Not forget, we collided with Hamilton as he rejoined the track in probably some of the most unsafe manner you'd ever see. We're going to finish outside of the points in Malaysia. Which is frustrating. Marcus Ericsson will take points for Sauber. As we round the final corner in Sepang. Finish P11 in Malaysia.
Top drive from Nico Rosberg today. The German finished on the top step of the podium with a comprehensive performance.
It was a fantastic performance and one that they should be very proud of. Every part of the team pulled together to achieve today's result.
That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye and see you again next time.
Well, you can see the little flashing black and white flag on Ericsson's name, and if you look at the time differential, 0.2 of a second, and we would have taken 10th. Even more galling after that, but Nico Rosberg takes the win ahead of Kimi Raikkonen. Lewis Hamilton's in third, then it's Vettel, Massa, Bottas, Ricciardo, Kvyat, Hulkenberg, and Ericsson your top 10. Maybe it was Ericsson that hit us, who knows. We finish 11th ahead of Carlos Sainz, then it's Grosjean, Perez, Nasser, Max Verstappen down in 16th. Adam Maldonado, Mary, Will Stevens, Fernando Alonso didn't finish. I'm going to take a quick look at that race director. Actually, let's take a look at what happened. Ignoring yellow flag for Marcus Ericsson, probably from the collision between me and Sainz. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, annoyingly, sometimes. What does that mean for the driver's stand-ins? Nico Rosberg leads after 2 wins out of 2. Raikkonen's in second ahead of Massa, then it's Bottas. Hamilton catapults up to 5th. Ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Vettel's in 7th, then it's Kvyat, Alonso, Hulkenberg. We're in 11th, we've slipped 2 spots, but we're still ahead of Marcus Ericsson, who's in 12th. And then the no-point scorers. Verstappen ahead of Sainz, Grosjean, Nasser, Perez, Maldonado, Mary and Stevens. In the constructors, Mercedes now lead by 18 points ahead of Williams, who they've jumped. Williams just 3 clear of Ferrari, who've jumped Red Bull. Red Bull remain in 4th, or slipped to 4th, sorry, but remain on course to be probably up there, I guess, with Ferrari by the end of the season. We stay 5th ahead of Force India by 4 points. They only scored a couple today. Sauber get their first points on the board to move into 7th, which drops Toro Rosso, Lotus and Mana Marussia. And, well, P9, it could have been 2 P9s in a row, which would have been pretty good going. We would have equalled our 2014 points tally in 2 rounds, but we don't manage it, thanks to the arrow just kind of sticking their nose in and staying there as we exited the final corner on lap 26 of 28, of all things. And then we had wing damage, and we couldn't stay with Marcus Ericsson or keep up with him or get back past him. So, yeah, disappointing end to the Malaysian Grand Prix there. A bit of a comedy of errors, missing qualifying as well. Or you will have missed qualifying. Hopefully it'll be a lot smoother sailing in round 3 and we can have a better time of it there. It's, I don't know, realistically, definitely hoping that we can have a good time as the season progresses. It was a fun race to that point, stressful, but it was a good drive, I think, or at least a decent drive. Next up, we'll be heading to Sekia for round number 3. Or will we? I don't think we will. I think we'll be heading to China. Trying my best to find things while I'm recording. Always silly. Just do it first. But yes, we'll be heading to China, not Sekia. Sekia will be round 4. So hopefully we can have a better time of things at Shanghai, but it's another circuit that I don't think has necessarily treated us very well in this series. And again, another circuit with an awful lot of high power moments, so we might find ourselves lacking pace. But at least we're in and around the points. Straight off the bat, we're not way back and struggling like we were last season. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. You know the drill by now. I shall see you for the next one in China. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.